Video, especially short-form video, is one of the best ways to share your ideas, showcase your work, and connect with others. Maybe you've captured some amazing clips, but now you're wondering how to edit them without feeling overwhelmed by complicated or expensive tools. And that's where CapCut Mobile comes in. It's a simple, powerful, and fun video editing app right at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Andrew, a digital content creator with a passion for storytelling through video. Over the years, I've worked with clients and created content for platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I've learned how important it is to have tools that are both accessible and effective. In this class, I'm gonna guide you through everything you need to know about editing videos with CapCut Mobile, whether you're starting from scratch or looking to level up your skills. By the end, editing will feel like second nature. CapCut has long been one of the top video editing apps for smartphones, and for good reason. It offers a full editing suite right in the palm of your hands. In the upcoming lessons, we're gonna explore everything from starting a new project and trimming clips to adding effects, captions, transitions, and much more. By the end of this class, you're gonna be creating eye-catching, professional quality videos, so grab your phone or tablet and let's dive into the world of video editing with CapCut Mobile. Welcome to this class. I'm really thrilled to have you here. Now let's dive into an important first step, your class project. Learning video editing is all about doing, not just watching. So this class is designed to teach you key skills step by step, but it's up to you to bring those skills to life by practicing on your own. Each lesson is going to introduce a different tool or feature in CapCut Mobile, and I'll provide the perfect footage to demonstrate how it works. You can download all the materials from the resources section to follow along with me as I edit. This hands-on approach will make it much easier for you to understand the techniques and start using them creatively. For your project, I want you to apply what you've learned by editing your own short video. Towards the end of the class, I'm gonna walk you through a complete edit from start to finish, and you can recreate that video as a way to practice everything we've covered, or if you're feeling adventurous, create something entirely on your own. Once you finish your video, you can share it with the class. You can upload it to Google Drive, Dropbox, or even YouTube and set it as unlisted if you prefer privacy, and drop the link in the projects panel. This way we can all see and celebrate your progress, and I can give you feedback. 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. And trust me, the 5th one is gonna blow your mind. First, CapCut Mobile gives you incredible features like AI tools, face tracking, text templates, and effects you'd expect from expensive software with plugins, all in the palm of your hand. Second, the app is super complete but simple to use. You can cut clips, add effects, captions. It's perfect for beginners but super handy also for experienced editors. Third, the media library is next level. You can find sound effects, music, create voiceovers. It's perfect for creating dynamic, eye-catching edits. Fourth, boring editing tasks are lightning fast. You can auto-generate captions, use pre-made templates, easily layer B-roll, add sounds. It's designed to save you time by being an all-in-one solution. And fifth and finally, CapCut is almost free. You can create incredible edits without spending a dime. But if you want to unlock advanced pro tools, you can try them even before you activate a monthly subscription. So you see, it's not 1 or 2, but 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to... Remember, watching the lessons is a fantastic start, but the real learning happens when you experiment and put those techniques to work. So don't be afraid to get creative and try things out. You're gonna be amazed at how quickly you grow. Next, we're gonna explore how to set up CapCut Mobile and start editing your first project. Let's get to it. Welcome to the next step in your CapCut Mobile journey. Before we dive into the editing tools, it's important to set everything up and get familiar with the starting options. This is gonna make the entire editing process smoother and more enjoyable. First, if you haven't already, download and install CapCut from your App Store. It's free and available for both Android and iOS, so make sure it's ready to go. When you open the app, you're gonna land on the home screen, which is where your editing journey begins. Here, you have a few options to kick off your project. Okay, so let's get into it, and let's just open CapCut. And here you're gonna see the main interface of the app. And right from the start, you're gonna have 3 different options on how to start a project here. The first one is gonna be down here under Templates. And this is the fastest but least flexible way for you to start a project. It's gonna have some pre-made edit in which you're just gonna add the files that you want, and the timing and music, it's all pre-chosen. This is just if you wanna get a video out quickly, but we're not gonna dive too much into this because you're gonna learn how to do everything from scratch. But later, if you wanna search around here and see if you can find anything that is interesting, go for it. So let's go back to Edit, and now we're gonna click on New Project. And here what you see is your gallery, is all the files that you have in your smartphone or in your tablet. And you can navigate the folders by going up here on this arrow, or you can see your online storage. There's a cloud storage included with CapCut in which you can transfer files from your smartphone to the tablet everywhere you want. And there's also the library, which are the media files that CapCut offers you. And now we're not gonna use any of these, but in the further lessons, yes, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So let's just go back to the albums. And all the resources and files you see here are gonna be available in the resources panel. So you can do exactly the same I'm doing, or you can use your own files as you prefer. Now here there's a trick. There are two ways of clicking on the files. The first one is to select them, which is clicking on this ball on the upper right, this circle. And then you're gonna see that they are selected on the bottom here. The second way is by clicking in the middle of the preview. So let's click on this dog video, for example. This opens up the preview of the video, and here you can crop it, meaning that you don't need to take a whole video inside your project if you don't need to. Like for example, if you had a 1-minute video that you only need 5 seconds, you could simply come here, move the yellow handles around, and you're gonna see how long is selected from that clip. Click OK, and now just that's gonna be imported. And you can see which clips are trimmed already by seeing the scissors up here. Okay, if you're happy with this, we can proceed. But now you have the second choice. You can click Collage down here, and you're gonna be presented with these different templates to just make a mosaic of the video files that you chose. If this is something that can be interesting to you, go for it. We're gonna go back, and we're gonna choose the third option, which is the most flexible one, which is just clicking on Add. And now we're in the main interface of CapCut, which is where we're gonna spend the rest of our time in this class. Now that your project is set up, it's time to get familiar with CapCut Mobile's main interface. Knowing where to find tools and how the layout works is gonna save you tons of time and make editing much more intuitive. So let's break it all down. Now basically what you got here is the screen divided in 3 different pieces. The upper part is the preview panel. The middle, there are some buttons and the timeline itself where you can scroll and see what the video is about. And the bottom part here with the buttons and everything, all the options that are available to you. You can click up here to see the preview larger and go back. You can click here to play or pause. We're gonna skip this button, and you have also undo and redo buttons, which are gonna be very useful if you make any kind of mistakes. In the middle here, you have the timeline itself, and it's where you can see all the video clips you've got. You can use both fingers to see a zoomed in or zoomed out version. In the middle here, you can see where you are and how long this timeline is. So you can have a reference about how long this video is right now. And remember that I told you could still add video files after you started editing. It's just by clicking on this plus signal here. And then you're going to be presented with the gallery all over again. If you don't want, just go back. And finally, on the bottom here, you're going to see all the high-level options that you've got on CapCut. But just be aware that these are going to change depending on what you're doing. But for example, if I click on one of the clips in the timeline, now you're gonna see everything that you can do with the clip itself. It's a lot of stuff, but don't worry, we're gonna go through all of these. Now the timeline is basically like having papers on a table, and whatever you place on top is what's gonna be visible. Different from desktop versions of editing softwares, because you have a limited space here, CapCut tries to organize and summarize things in different ways. So let's see first how video layers work. In this case here, we have only the main layer. So all of the clips are just spread on the table one after the other. But if I come to the second clip, for example, and I scroll to the right until overlay, you're gonna see now that this clip is positioned below. And if you scroll around, you're gonna see that that's the video that is visible, even though you got this other video here on the main layer right now. This means that the order in which you see things is exactly like this, from you to the top. It's like you just position the paper on top of the main layer that was already on the table. Okay, but now what happens if I deselect this clip? Let's press back here, back again. And now we're back to that main menu. And where is that clip? It's summarized as this small drop icon on the top here. And the red line symbolizes until where is it going. So the main track is always visible and available, but further video layers are all gonna be up there. And if you wanna see it again, all you have to do is click on that and it's going to expand it all over again. And this is something really cool about CapCut. All the kind of medias are organized with different colors and in different places, so you never lose something. Now, if you want to reorganize things on the timeline, like for example, getting this seagull clip and moving into the front, all you have to do is click and hold. It's going to pop up, and now you can move it around as you prefer. So let's move it here to the first position. So now that is the first clip, and then we see the clip that is in our second layer, actually above, and it's going to cover all of the clips until the very end when this dog clip begins. If you want to see things a little bit better, you can zoom in again. To extend or shorten a clip, you can just click on the clip you want to change, hold the handle here on the side, and just move it left or right to be able to crop it. And something interesting is that you're gonna feel that it is kind of snapping to the borders of other stuff. So when I go, it's going to snap to the playhead, that indicates where we're playing from. It's going to snap to the end of other clips. There's also this vibration, this haptic feedback, so that you know what you're doing. Also, you probably noticed that when you select a clip on the timeline, it becomes with this blue border around the preview. This means that this is the clip that is selected and active, and you can change also its position, rotation, and scale directly on the preview. So just by holding here on the preview and moving it around, you can reposition it. With 2 fingers you can scale it, or if you just want to rotate, you can use also the 2 fingers like this. So it's very easy to have it exactly as you want it. And now you can see even more clearly the layers, because you can also see a piece of the background clip here. Now sometimes you're going to want to be very precise about how you reposition or redimension a clip. And for that, you can just click the clip and go down here to the options until you find basics. And here you can do the same, but with the handles, so that you can know exactly how much you're moving it around. Scale and also rotate. Okay, by mastering these basics, you're going to be super confident navigating around CapCut Mobile and setting up your timeline like a pro. In the next lesson, we're going to be diving deeper into adjusting clip properties. See you there. In this lesson, we'll focus on how to adjust clip properties in CapCut Mobile. These tools will help you modify your video clips to match your creative vision, whether it's streaming, adding effects, or creating dynamic animations. Let's explore the options step by step. You're going to see there's an infinite amount of clip properties that you can change, but let's try to split them in categories to make things a bit easier. And the first category is going to be the essentials. And if at any time you feel a little bit lost about what each thing does, you can check the resources panel, because there's going to be a PDF with all the buttons and what everything does. First of all, trimming the clips can be directly on the timeline by holding the handles, but you can also come to the bottom and use the first option, which is split. By this, you just position the playhead wherever you want to split this clip into. So let's say around here. Be sure that it's selected and click split. Now you're going to be able to see that it's actually 2 different clips. And on the upper part of the clip, you're going to be able to see also how long it lasts. So this is 10 seconds and this is 7.6. You notice that I'll skip some of the buttons here, and it's just because they belong to another category that I'm going to explain in another lesson. So don't worry about it. Now by splitting this file, we created another option, which is holding the clip and bringing it down so that you create even another layer here. And with this, now you're going to see that there are 2 different drop icons on the upper part here. If you actually just wanted to split this clip so that you could delete the second part, you can just select it and click this bin, and the clip is going to disappear. And if you delete it by mistake, remember that undo button, that's the moment to use it. If instead you really love this clip and you want to have 2 of these, you can just click duplicate. And you can change the opacity of a clip by clicking here and reducing it so that you can see also the background. Reverse does what it says, just reverse the clip around. And freeze is a really interesting option, because let's say you have a motion and you just want to freeze a frame so that you can put some text or some explanation on top of it. You can have the clip selected, click freeze, and now a new clip, which is just a still from that moment, is going to be present in the timeline. And by default, it's going to take 3 seconds. So you have the motion, you have that frame frozen for 3 seconds, and then the continuity of the clip. And there's a bunch of audio controls here that we're going to see on a dedicated lesson. Other things to notice here in the interface is that you have the possibility to mute all the audio clips from this if you just want to add some music. And in between the clips, you always have this white box, which is the transition box. By clicking on it, the special menu comes up in which you can just choose whichever kind of transition you want. And that's what's going to happen when you play through that gap. Now, the beauty of CapCut Mobile is that you can mix all of these features to create something unique. For example, you could use speed, slow down a clip, bring it to a freeze frame, add some text, and highlight a dramatic moment like this. Learning these tools, you're going to have the flexibility to shape the videos the way you want. In the next lesson, we're going to talk a little bit more about the speed option. Let's check out one of CapCut Mobile's most powerful features, the speed tool. Whether you want to create dramatic slow motion effects, speed things up for a time lapse, or add dynamic speed variations, this tool gives you all the flexibility you need. Let's explore these options. Okay, let's play with speed a little bit more. So for this, I'm going to create a dedicated timeline just with that clip that I showed you before, which is this one. And here, let's cut just the piece that we want to play around with. So let's say that it's beginning here and just goes until here, more or less. Let's delete the other one so that it makes our life easier, our timeline a little bit cleaner. So if I play this, that's what you got. Only 3 seconds of clip, normal speed. So if you click on it and you go to speed, now we have several different options here. If you go to normal, it's going to be the same as we did in the last lesson, which is just choosing a factor of speed that you want to make it faster, and then it's going to last even less, or to slow it down, meaning that it's going to last a little bit longer. Now, this is totally dependent on how many frames per second you shot this clip. If you don't know exactly what that is, I'm going to leave it in the resources panel, something that explains it a little bit better. But for now, all you have to think is that your timeline is being read at a certain speed. In this case, 25 frames per second. And this clip was shot at 50 frames per second, meaning that you have double the amount of frames that you need to show in a second. So when you see these 50 frames, but 25 frames each second, it means that it's gonna last 2 seconds. So it's gonna feel like it's slower. Let's do it again for you to see how it works. I'm gonna pull it back to 0.5, click OK, and now the clip lasts 7.5 seconds instead of the 3 initial ones. And if I play it, you can see that it's slowed down. Now this is the linear option because the whole clip now is at the same speed, which means 50%. Instead of doing this, we could use the curves. So let's try it. I'm gonna go to normal and I'm gonna set it back to 1x. We're back to the original. Now I'm gonna click curve. And as you can see, there's a custom option, but there's also many different pre-made options. One that I like a lot is this flash in. Let's take a look at one of these options here for you to see what it does. So I'm going to choose bullet, for example. And what it does in this graph here, you're going to be able to see that it goes faster than the original file. Then it drops down to 0.5 and then it goes back up again. This means that if I play it, it's fast, super slow, fast again. And here you can adjust it as you wish. So in this case here, for example, I think the slow part is too short. So for that, I can open up a little bit more this middle part over here. So that all this region here, which is the slow part, meaning that it's on 0.5, is just gonna last a little bit longer. Let's see how it looks. That looks pretty cool. Now, as you see, you have total flexibility on how you want it to move. If you think the fast part is too fast, you can just lower it closer to 1x. And now you have this effect. If you think one of the control points is unnecessary, you can just select it and delete bit. Or if you think actually it was useful, you can add a bit and it's going to add that point of control again. So you can just play around with this to make the speed change up and down as you wish. Now, just one thing that is important to remember is that not to make this choppy, you should be working with multiples of the frame rate that you shot this video in. Wait, I'm gonna explain. So if this video is at 50 frames per second and the timeline is 25, you can play it at 50% without any problems. It's just gonna take twice as long for you to see all the frames. But if you use a weird number in between, it's gonna have to skip some frames or to add some frames in, and it's not gonna look as fluid as it should. Now, if you don't have the Pro option, that's what you should do. If you do have, you can disrespect that a little bit by using the smooth slow-mo here. Just choose faster process or better quality and check if the result is good enough. Just as a reference, if you go to custom instead of choosing one of the other templates, you get a flat graph that you can start working from zero. Now for the last option, we're gonna go to velocity effects. And as you can see, this is one that is gonna go along with the music you choose for this video. So let's just add a sound. Sounds fine. I'm gonna drag it to the start here. Let's use the clip again, velocity effects and flash. And now you can see the yellow dots, which are the beats of the song. Sometimes it's gonna get it right and do something cool, sometimes not that much. Yet remember that here we're learning how to do everything manually, so you will always be able to replicate any kind of effect. The speed tool is a great resource to have with you. It's gonna help a lot to match cuts, time it with the music, and make everything more engaging. Now that you know how to set the pace and rhythm of your videos, in the next lesson we're gonna talk a little bit more about color grading and adjustments to make your videos really pop. It's time to explore how to enhance the visual style of your videos using CapCut Mobile's adjustments, filters, and advanced video quality tools. These features let you fine-tune the look of your footage, bringing your creative vision to life. No video editing tool is complete without color adjustments and grading tools. Let's start once again a new project just with the talking head video that you have in the resources. And here you can click on the clip and just go to adjust. If you've done any kind of photo editing before, you're gonna see that this is very similar. Just bear in mind that the way this was shot is going to dictate how much can you mess around with the colors and the adjustments. After a certain point, it's just gonna start breaking down, so you have to keep it at that limit. Inside the adjust menu, you're gonna see that there are some pro options here that we're gonna skip for now, and later on you're gonna be able to see some things like brightness, which is going to brighten or darken your image, contrast. All of them are sliders that you can just go up and down and see whatever suits your footage. I wouldn't go too crazy with any of these, but if something doesn't look right, you can definitely still fix a little bit here. Color temperature can be found here. You can fade the image a little bit if you'd like, add some vignettes to add some importance to what's in the center of the frame. And if you want to add some texture, you could also add some grain. And these changes are being applied only to this clip. But if you have a huge timeline and you would like these changes to be applied to all of the clips, you have this option down here on Apply to All. So just click on that and it's going to be applied everywhere. Later, do a check just to see if no clip is really different from each other, but this is a very good way to keep some consistency. Now, I love the filters option here inside of CapCut because you have not only a lot of interesting LUTs or filters that give a different look to your video, but they are split in some interesting categories, like for example, a movies category. So if you want to replicate some sort of style from a movie or from a video game, you can just try to find it inside here and apply. So let's say, for example, that I like this Oppenheimer filter. The moment you click on it, there's a slider on the bottom that is going to dictate how intense you want this effect to be. I'm going to leave it around here and just click OK. And the last option we got this in this panel is the video quality. This panel, at the moment of recording this lesson, it's all pro features. But there are some very interesting ones, like reducing image noise, optical flow, which is just going to make things fluid if you don't have enough frames to make something slower, and even a super resolution option, meaning that if you have a lower resolution video, you could still upscale it to something bigger that looks a bit sharper. None of these are going to do any kind of magic, but they do improve your image. Okay, so what's the correct way of using all of these? If you have any kind of footage on your timeline, I would click on it, go to adjust, and start with the basic adjustments to make the image look right, meaning that white looks white, black looks black, and the style of fading, vignette, and everything looks the way that you like it. Now, if you want to customize it even further, you can go to Filters, select one of these that are available, and apply it to your image. So mastering these tools are going to help you elevate the look of your videos. In the next lesson, we're going to focus on getting the audio of your video just right. We're going to add music, sound effects, voiceovers. Let's do it. One of the most critical aspects of video editing, audio. Good audio can elevate your video and make it much more engaging, whether it's adding background music, enhancing voice clarity, or syncing sound effects. Let's explore the tools CapCut Mobile offers to get your audio just right. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is create a new project using only the talking head video that you have in the resources section. I'm gonna edit. Now we have a single clip timeline. I'm gonna click on the clip and I'm just gonna go all the way to the right and you're gonna find here, extract audio. And what is it going to do is it's going to separate the video from the audio part of the clip. Now this can be useful for two different reasons. The first one is that now you can see the waveform of the audio and you can understand when you need to lower the music or up a little bit. And in case you have some B-roll on top of your talking head video, you can still visualize on the timeline where is it going. So let's say here I add that clip of the dog, for example. I'm going to come down here to the end and I'm going to click overlay. Next, let's add some music. And for that, in this higher level menu that we have on the bottom here, you can click on audio and you're gonna have several different options. One of them is going to be sounds. And this is gonna open the media library from CapCut where you can find many different songs and you can filter them by style. There's vlog, travel, summer, pop, beats. You can choose whatever you prefer or even search by a song or an artist. You can click to preview and plus to add it to the timeline. Now I'm just gonna drag it back right to the start. And as I told you, now in this way you can see the timeline with both waveforms and you can see where the music and the talking is colliding. And now clicking on each one of them, you're gonna have similar controls, including the one about volume. So if you just wanna have kind of like a background music, you can just come here and lower it way down until 7, for example, and this is what you get. 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. It could even be lower, but anyways, you get the point. Now you probably noticed also that we have sound effects in this menu down here. And this is going to include a lot of categories that are super useful, like for example, transitions, or just to express a mood, Halloween, fight, magic. And whenever you find something that is useful and you think you're probably going to want to reuse that, you can just favorite it and later you're going to be able to find it in your favorites list. I have here things, for example, like a beep, turning pages, camera shutter. Whenever I put a photo in one of my reels, I use this to express it, or whooshes for transitions. Now for the dialogue portions, you can click on the waveform and you can come down to enhance voice. This is the current pro version of how to enhance the voice and the clarity. For the music part, something that I use quite often is the fade. So clicking on it, you have the fade option. And this is useful if you don't want the song to just start abruptly. You want it to start coming up slowly. So I'll just change the fade in to 3 seconds, for example. Give it OK. And now you can see that there's this bar down here that goes from black until it disappears. Meaning that here, the song is just fading in. Let's listen it. So you see it's not 1 or 2, but 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the... It's a more subtle way of making the music enter the video. Now this version of CapCut introduced something really cool called text to audio. And here basically you could type whatever you wanted and it's going to convert into a voiceover. Let's just use one of the examples. You have some AI options like expanding, shortening, it's just going to write it for you. And the moment you say that it's done, you can choose which kind of voice do you prefer. I'm just going to choose Andrew, for example.
Hello, dear friends.
I'm going to pick next, split automatically. And now you have not only the voiceover, but even the captions for it.
Let's make a chocolate
5
cake.
reasons why
First,
CapCut
prepare flour.
Mobile is the... Now in this case, this is mixed with the audio from my voice. But if we quickly just mute it to see what's going on.
Hello, dear friends. Today, let's make a chocolate cake. First, prepare flour.
And you can see that even the reading is quite cool. It's not something mechanical or like Google Translate. Anyways, this is the case in which you don't want to put your voice yourself. But if you prefer that way, there's also a way to make voiceovers by yourself inside here. Just click the audio option again and go to record. Now all you need to do is tap, hold, and everything you're going to be saying is going to become a file, an audio file inside the timeline. I finished recording, I'm going to press OK, and here it is. Everything you're going to be saying is going to be...
The dough rise.
I'm just going to add some sound effects here just to show you how it looks. And as you probably noticed, the audios are all separated by layers. One of them is the audio from the video file. One of them is the music. One of them has the voiceover and the sound effects. And one layer has the text to voice. And the moment that I press back and go back to the main menu, these are all grouped together inside this sound collection layer. To expand it, all I need to do is tap audio down here and everything is back out. Or you can just tap directly over sound collection. If there are more layers than you can see, you can just hold and drag up and down to be able to see everything. So how can you combine all of this together? Basically, like we did here, having a talking head video, you can separate the audio, then add some music, add some sound effects for the transitions or for the things that happen in the video. If there's too much noise, you can use the reduce noise. Or if it's actually a video just with voiceover or a screen recording, you could do the voiceover yourself directly inside the app without needing to use anything else. Now these are gonna make your videos much more polished. In the next lesson, we're gonna be adding text to your videos. Titles, templates, captions. Let's do it. Text can be a powerful storytelling tool in your videos. Whether you're adding titles, emphasizing points, or creating dynamic visuals, CapCut Mobile makes it easy to integrate text into your edits. In this lesson, we're gonna explore how to add text, use templates, and even draw custom elements. Adding text to your video sounds very easy, but there are so many options inside CapCut that it can become a little bit confusing. So let's go through some of the most important ones. As usual, I'm gonna start a new project, just a talking head video, which is the simplest one. And down here you have the option of text. Let's start by the first one, just add text. And then as you can see, it has also its dedicated layer, just like the other elements that we've seen so far. Now here, I'm just gonna write something like CapCut Mobile. And here you could choose something like a template. So you see it's not one or two, but so you see it's not one. So you see it's not one or two, but... And if you go to the other menus, you can actually customize it a little bit. So you could change the font, you could change the style, the colors, if you want to add some background or change the opacity. All kinds of character editing, just like a text editor, really. And on animations, you could change the way that it appears on the screen. So it's by spinning, if it's going to be rotating. Anyways, there are thousands of options here. And on the bottom, you can choose how long this transition or animation is going to be. Now here we have an inverted option of what we saw in the previous lesson. We have the option of doing a text to speech. So let's see, if I select this CapCut Mobile text box that I've written, I can just go to text to speech, use narration for example, choose a voice,
CapCut Mobile.
press OK.
CapCut
So you see it's
Mobile.
not one. And now I have also the audio about that text. And for now, I can only see the text box here, which is what we were editing. But you know that the audio was inserted already because we heard it, right? But remember, since it's an audio, it's going to appear only when we're showing audio layers. So if I go back and I go to the audio part, now I can see the CapCut Mobile small audio box over here. And as anything else, I can drag it around, I can make it shorter or longer. It's up to you. And encompassed inside the text area, there are also the stickers. So if you want to add something like this, for example, you can insert it, you can give it an OK, and now you're going to be seeing it as a yellow box down here for all the duration of its animation. Okay, so in this lesson we covered the basics of adding text into your videos. In the next lesson, let me show you just a little bit deeper how it is to add captions. Captions are a fantastic way to make your videos more accessible and engaging. They help convey your message even when the sound is off, making your content suitable for all viewers. In this lesson, we're going to explore how to generate captions in CapCut Mobile, refine them by identifying filler words, and customize them with templates and animations. Okay, let's start by doing the simplest thing, which is creating a new project with the talking head video and add it to the timeline. Clicking on it, we're just going to go to text and auto captions. Here you don't need to change anything right now, but if you wanted, you could already say from where you want the captions to be made of. So in this case, I'm just going to choose video, but it could be from a voiceover, from everything. And the templates also, which kind of captions do you want? This can be changed later, but you can choose it here already. Bilingual captions is a pro option that is going to generate double captions in 2 different languages. And identifying filler words is going to identify all the useless words you have in the middle of your speech that can be completely cut out. Okay, I'm just going to click generate and we're going to see what it does. As the other elements in CapCut, you see now a layer, a brown layer just with the captions one after the other that you can actually manipulate individually. So you could make them shorter, you can make them longer. And if you want to move them around the screen also, you could just by doing it directly on the preview panel here. Now let's say something was misunderstood and it's not written correctly. You could double tap it on the preview panel and re-edit there. So you could just write something different. Or by having one of the captions selected, you could come down here and go to edit captions. This way you can see the whole list, and the moment you scroll it down, you're going to see that also the video is going forward. And here the same thing applies. You just click on it and you can type in whatever is correct in that place. If you didn't select a style before when creating the captions, you can do it by clicking here on style and just choosing something different. Let's say that now I think this one is better. And here we go. If you want to fine-tune it, you can go to the Fonts tab, select different fonts. You can select different styles with different backgrounds, different colors, add glow, add a background. It really depends on the kind of background you have to make the captions visible. Plus, you can even choose which kind of animation you want when the caption appears on the screen. It could be just popping up, or it could have some crazy effects like some glitter coming off of it. Let's go with that. And the moment you deselect the text, you go back to the main menu and the main timeline view, and now everything is just a brown line on top of your main track. To have access to the captions again, all you have to do is click on the text menu, and here we are again. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about a very special effect called rotoscoping, or you could nickname it the green screen effect. Rotoscoping is a powerful feature in CapCut Mobile that lets you isolate subjects in your videos, opening up endless creative possibilities. You can place stickers, text, or effects behind the subject, or even remove backgrounds entirely. In this lesson, we'll explore both the automatic and custom rotoscoping options, and I'm going to show you how to make the most of this feature. To better explain, let's just create a project with the talking head video again. Let's click on the clip and let's come to Remove Background. Now for this case, I'm going to use the auto removal. And whenever CapCut has to apply something, you're going to be able to see on the bottom left corner here that it's still processing it. The moment it says that it's done, you can just click OK. And now what you're going to see is just the subject cut out. The background is totally gone. So let's add, for example, the dog video. And whenever you add a new video, it goes to the main track. So let's click on our rotoscoped video here, click Overlay, and send it to the layer above. Let's pull it back to the beginning. And now what you can see is the video that we rotoscoped in front or above the other video. This is very good for those React videos, for example. In this case, you could make me smaller like I'm commenting on the dog video. I'm going to do it using the preview directly, just by pinching with the two fingers and just dragging me down, for example, to this corner over here. 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution. And as you can see, the cutout is pretty good. Okay, but what if you don't have the Pro version, you cannot do this automatic background removal? Okay, let's try one other way. I'm just going to delete everything we have here. Let's click on it again and let's go again to Remove BG. Now I'm going to click on Custom Removal, and choosing the brush, I'm just going to paint over myself, trying to get to the borders as much as I can. Now CapCut is going to apply this custom removal throughout the whole clip, and let's see how it does. Okay, it's done, and as you can see, the things that were already present in the frame that we painted, they were more or less kept well throughout the whole thing. But the bigger problem is really the portions of the body, hands and arms that weren't in that frame, and it can't really manage to get those. So for example, in this case, if I just wanted my face to be in there, it would be okay, but the rest of the body, kind of. So if you don't have the Pro subscription, it's better to do it using a green screen. In this case, I didn't record anything with a green screen to show you, but we have the media library from CapCut that we saw in one of the first lessons. So let's try to get something from there to show you how it works. I'm just going to click plus, come here to library, and there's an option exactly written green screen. So let's just choose something like this music bar waveform here. I'm going to edit, click, I'm going to go to overlay, and I'm going to put it on top of our video here. I'm just going to add once more our original video so that we have the whole of it and not just this weird cutout that I did. Okay. So now basically all we want is to keep the white part but remove what's green on this. If you are recording yourself, you would need the green panel behind you, for example. And the concept would be just the same. You just click on it, go to Remove BG, and this time we're going to go to Chroma Key, the third option. And basically what it's asking you is, okay, which color do you want to be removed? So you're just going to go around here on the preview and just leave that dot in the middle exactly on top of a place that represents the color, in this case the green. And you can see that it automatically already did a great job. It is possible to see that there's a little bit of green on top of the white there, so you can play a little bit of the intensity to see how much it's going to eliminate that. Shadow, feathering the edges, and cleaning up the edges. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, put it down here. And this is what we got. So this is the perfect way to insert overlays or other elements on top of your videos. Now let's take this one step further and say that you wanted this animation to be actually behind me. Now the way we should go about it is imagining the papers on the table like we did before. You're gonna have a base layer, which is me talking and all the background. On top of it, we're gonna have this new animation that we inserted and that we want to be sandwiched between the background and me. And now on the top layer, I need a cutout of just me covering that portion, but not the background. So we have these three layers in succession so that we can see that it's more three-dimensional in a sense. To do that, let's duplicate this file here. We're gonna click it and we're gonna go to Overlay. Let's drag it back to the start. And now here you can visualize the sandwich already. But the problem is that the top layer, meaning this one, also has the background, so it's covering everything that is in the back. So let's do again what we did before. Let's remove the background. And now you can see that it's working already, but it's not in a very good position. So let's put it maybe up here and make it even bigger. Just as an example. It gives you incredible features like AI, face tracking, text templates, and effects you'd expect from expensive useful and that I want to show you right now. And for that, let's go again to the media library from CapCut. Let's import something, go to library, and what I want to find here is something interesting that is black and white. So let's see, for example, this missing signal video. Okay, this is gonna do. Let's add it. We go to overlay. Let's just drag it on top of everything else. Okay, so now we have the issue that this is just covering everything in the back, right? So let's keep it selected and let's come to splice. Now this, just like the green screen, is a way in which you're gonna tell the software to eliminate a color or a luminosity. In this case, I want the white or brighter parts of this image to be kept, but the darker ones no. There are many options here, and I'm not going to go through all of them, so I'm just going to select one that I know is going to keep the bright parts, but eliminate the dark ones. So I'm gonna try overlay, and that could work, or lighten. That's a little bit too harsh, so let's use overlay. And here you can regulate how strong is it going to be. So I'm just gonna keep it this way, and now what you can see is that the effect comes on top. First, CapCut Mobile gives you incredible features. And this is just one example, but you could use also other effects like smoke transitions or maybe leaves falling from the sky. It really depends if the footage is in front of a green screen or if it's black and white and has different grades of luminosity. You just have to choose the right tool for what you have. And here, if you wanted to add anything else in between me and the background, you could add text, stickers, whatever you'd like. The procedure is exactly the same. Now, this is really going to give a professional edge to your videos. In the next lesson, let's talk a little bit about adding effects and transitions to get that spark into your videos. In this lesson, we're diving into one of the most exciting parts of video editing, effects and transitions. These tools help add energy, creativity, and polish to your videos, making them truly stand out. We'll explore how to use transitions between clips, apply different effects, and take advantage of AI-powered tools to elevate your edits. Now, just as a reminder, effects and transitions are not always necessary. It depends on the story that you want to tell. But sometimes if you want to make things flow a little bit easier, or if you want to call attention or use it on a hook, for example, for a short video, they can work really well. Let's start by creating a new project again, and we're going to use all of the 4 items that we had in this timeline now. As we saw in the interface lesson, we always have this box in between the clips, which represents the transitions. So if you just click one of them and you add any kind of transition, you're going to be able to see that it's going to be played out like that. And especially when you have 2 completely different scenes like this, it's very interesting to add a transition to really mark the passage from one place to the other, instead of a rough cut. And always remember that you can change the duration of it. So if you wanted it to be really long, you could do it. Now, to access other options, all you have to do is come down to the main menu down here and you have the Effects tab. If you choose the video effects, these are going to affect the video as a whole, not something specific within the frame. And the categories are very descriptive. So you're gonna have light effects, glitch, distortion, spark. So let's just add one of these, like this film wave, for example, and you're gonna see the new layer is a purple one and it represents where this effect is gonna be played out. So if I scroll just a little bit on the back, you're gonna see that it's not being applied and suddenly it kicks in until the end here. So one thing you have to pay attention to is if your effect is actually covering the whole duration of the clip that you want to affect. In this case here, let's zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to drag the edges here until it snaps to the edge here and also here. Exactly. Now, as I said, these effects are going to affect the whole frame, everything that is in the video in that moment. But there's a second option called body effects, and this one I'm going to apply to the first talking head video here. Let's go to Effects, Body Effects. And in this one, CapCut is actually going to identify the subject, in this case me, and apply something above it or behind it. It's just going to interact with it. So let's just use the first one, for example, target flicker. And as you can see, it's just like making the contour around me and applying the effect only there. You get the point. Another very cool effect that is not actually inside the effects tab is the camera tracking. And for this one, I'm gonna choose camera tracking, and here you can choose what do you want to be tracked. So let's say I'm just tracking the face in this one. So you see it's not one or two, but 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. And trust me, the 5th one is gonna blow your mind. Now here what CapCut is doing is keeping my face exactly in the same position throughout the whole video. But what happens is that I move around, so the border here at some points just, you can see that it's totally off the border, like here on the right. So you have different options. You can make it blur that side, or you can make it fit canvas, and in this way it's gonna have to zoom in a little bit. And if we play it like that, you're gonna see how incredibly perfectly in the same position my face remains. And it might sound silly, but this is already different enough that it's going to call attention in comparison to other videos. And now what you're seeing that CapCut created here are keyframes throughout the whole video, meaning that it is changing the position on the x-axis and also on the y-axis all the time to keep the face perfectly centered. And this goes into a topic that could be a whole class. Keyframing is the entrance to a lot of effects. Basically, it's you saying to the software, these are the properties I want you to track, in this case the position, the zoom, the rotation. In the beginning, it's going to be like this. And then you can create a keyframe for the ending and say, in the end, the conditions are going to be like that. And the magic is that the software creates what's in between. So if you have a video that is turned like this in the beginning and in the end it's like this, the software is going to figure out that it has to rotate it while it goes to the right. Another very nice effect here is the relight. Let's just choose warm light, and this is basically faking lights that were not that in the initial set. In the preview panel, you can actually still move them around, and you can see how perfectly the shape of the light adapts to my face, still keeping the other side darker. Now it's up to you to combine these effects and transitions in a tasteful way. In the next lesson, we're going to be talking about some of the features that are outside of this editing interface, the ones that we saw in the main interface when we first opened the app. And there are some features that are going to help you even film content for your edits. CapCut Mobile isn't just a video editing tool. It also offers a range of features outside the main editing interface that can make your workflow faster, easier, and more creative. In this lesson, we will explore the extra features, including the built-in camera, the templates, the image editing, and even a teleprompter. Okay, here we are in the main screen, and I want you to press on this down arrow to expand the options we've got. The first one we're going to try is the camera. And as you can see, this is a super easy way to record content directly from inside CapCut and throw this in the timeline right away. The one-shot video option is basically just a normal camera, but the interesting one is the second option, which is called Mode Eclipse. Basically here you're going to choose how long you want the final video to be, and the moment you hit record, it's going to start recording, and then you can just stop it, and it's going to keep it at 3 seconds, telling you that you still have that amount of time to go. How much it went around that circle is already indicating to you also how much you have left. So let's say I just record the second portion, and we are down to 6-7 seconds. And this makes it much easier if you want to record in different positions, different sides. So let's say that now I want to continue it from here, and I'm just going to finish my video in talking in this direction and just do a last bit from here. Okay, hit record, it's going to start recording. And then you can just say I just record the second portion and we are down to 6-7 seconds. Now I want to continue it. So basically it cut the clips already and it's ready to edit. You could export directly like this, or you could press edit, and you're gonna see that like there were clips that you shot completely separately that now are thrown in the timeline. Okay, let's discard this. And you're gonna see that some of the options you got here, you get also inside the timeline or the main interface also. But sometimes this just might be the most important thing for you, like for example, to have a caption video, so you could just start directly from here. Now, one option here that I really like is the teleprompter. And this is basically this text box that remains on top of the camera here that I could just start recording, for example. It's gonna count down and it's gonna start scrolling the text. So, hi, I'm CapCut teleprompter and I can help you remember all your lines. This feature supports editing text, and go on like this. And this way you're almost looking at the selfie camera on the phone, which means it looks like you're recording out of the top of your mind, but you're actually reading everything. Also here you're gonna find some other stuff that usually you wouldn't find in a video editor, like for example, a photo editor. You're gonna find here basically all the options you would find in Lightroom, for example. Not all, but some of it. So you could adjust the brightness, the contrast, saturation, and so on. Now, by leveraging these extra features, you can save a lot of time. Stay organized, produce high-quality videos. Now in the next and final lesson, I'm gonna walk you through a complete editing workflow. From start to finish to bring together everything that we've learned. In this lesson, we're gonna put everything we've learned into action with a full editing workflow. Together, we're gonna create a reel highlighting 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the best solution for creating videos on the go. And this is a perfect project to bring all the features together and showcase your skills. This can be interesting for you to understand how to mix the different features we've learned into one edit. If you want to practice first and recreate the same reel, all the files are in the resources panel. If you want to use the same files but create something different, have a go at it. And if you want to film and edit something on your own, that's perfect too. Just don't let the extra work get in the way of you getting some practice about editing. Let's do it. Okay, so if you downloaded the videos from the resources section, now you have all of these available to you. Mainly there are some talking head videos and 4 B-roll shots that just include screen recordings of the CapCut interface. I want you to select all of the talking head videos and we're going to import them without checking in which order they are. We're going to rearrange them right now in the timeline. So all you need to do is to listen to the beginning of the video to check which tip it is, because I always say first, second, third. And you can just press, hold your finger on each one of the videos. They're separated by this white block, which is the transition block. And you can just click, hold, and drag it left or right. Ultimate solution to edit 1 or 2, but 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate. Okay, so now we arrived to the last video, which is also the first one because this video is in a loop. We're going to select it and we're going to go to extract audio because this is going to help us spot exactly where to cut this video. And you can see the drop on the audio over there. It's exactly where we want to cut it. So I'm going to cut it right here. And now that it's perfectly done, I'm going to eliminate the audio because it's not connected to the video. And if I try to play it right now, it's going to be mute. So I have to recover the audio from both of these. And I'm going to drag the last piece to the beginning. 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. And perfect. So it starts with 5 reasons that CapCut Mobile. Okay, now let's add some body effects to the first video because the first 3 seconds are the hook and it's really important to call attention. In this case here, I'm just going to use this vortex effect. And as you can see, you have many options, and if you click and stop your finger on top of any of the effects, it's going to go to this tab, which is the saved ones. And always remember that you can still click on top of the effect and customize it a little bit. 5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. And trust me, the 5th one is going to blow your mind. First, CapCut Mobile gives you...
Okay, it's looking pretty good. And then now the second part of the video is just me explaining that the fifth tip is going to be the most outstanding one. So let's cut it here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger.
On the go. And trust me, the fifth one is going to blow.
And maybe for this one, I'm just going to eliminate the effect just to have this change of
And trust me,
scenery.
the fifth one is going to blow your mind. First, CapCut Mobile gives
And also
you
going to zoom in a little bit. And by that, to do that, I just used really pinching on the interface on the preview itself.
First,
let's include the first transition between this first scene and the first tip. You can choose whichever you like. And for this first tip, I'm just going to make the screen a little bit smaller. And I wanted to go to the background option and we're going to choose blur. This way, whatever is on the top is going to also to be replicated on the background, but blurry. And you can choose how much you want.
Features like AI tools.
In this case here, let's split this one a little bit more. I want to get this part with the AI.
AI tools, face track.
AI tools, okay, perfect. It's perfectly split. And the idea here is that I'm going to create something that is in the background, just behind me. So we're going to duplicate it, overlay it, just like you saw in the rotoscoping lesson. And let's go to remove BG, and I'm going to use the auto removal in this case. CapCut is going to work, background removed, perfect. So now we have the top and the bottom layers, but now we need to know what's going to go in between. So let's go to add, go to the library. Let's try to find something like artificial intelligence or something related to that. Okay, this one looks pretty good. I'm just going to click HD, import it. Now it's on the main track. We need it to go below or above actually. Gonna make it shorter a little bit, go to overlay. Okay, now it's in the second layer. And I'm gonna overlay once more this one. See that we don't have the option to overlay here. And if you see the layers, they're on the same one. So what I'm gonna do in this one here is just drag and drop it down. Perfect. But now you have to pay attention because CapCut like this looks like me on top of the artificial intelligence bureau on top of the background. But actually you have to check the layers and you have to rearrange it correctly. Okay, so now my cutout is on top of that. We just have to rearrange now the artificial intelligence part and it's gonna look cool. I'm gonna grab it on the preview, make it a little bit bigger, rotate it 90 degrees, scale it up, and now it's covering all the background. But it looks a little bit weird with my cutout, so I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit. Perfect. Now we just need a way to make it go in and out, and for that I'm going to click Animations and choose Combo, because this includes the in and out at the same time.
Just like AI tools, face tracking.
Yes, looks perfect.
Like AI tools, face tracking.
Great. Let's continue. Now for this part, I'm going to go to the camera tracking. I'm going to choose face and let it track. And in here, it's very important to choose fit canvas and keep face size. This way, this is the effect you're going to get. The face is always in the middle and there are no gaps in the borders. Perfect, very cool. Okay, here let's try to find a moment in which I can track my hand so that I can make some money appear and use also a sound effect for that later on. I'm going to choose this bag, make it a little bit bigger, and just position in the first frame in which the hand looks more or less well defined there, because it's also blurry. I'm going to start tracking by putting this over my hand, and it's really fast, but you can see that it moves, kind of moves together with the hand. I'm going to try again. And you can keep trying it until you manage to track something that is really visible to the software. In this case, it's always useful if you have a watch or if you have a ring or something that it's easier to detect with the contrast in comparison to the rest. Okay, tracking completed. And it looks good until I start to lower the hand. So I'm just going to cut the sticker to that point.
Palm of your hand. Palm of your hand.
And okay, it's enough. I just want this little bit. Okay, so now let's do the text templates. In this part here, I'm just gonna go to text templates, choose something that I like. You can always find something interesting in the trending tab.
Text templates and effects you'd expect from
Okay, this one sounds good.
text templates and effects you'd expect from
And to edit, you can just click on the bottom where the text panel appears, or you can also double tap on the screen in the right place, and it's gonna allow you to edit over there also. In this case, template's gonna go there, and back to nature, I'm gonna change the text. It's enough. It's just an example. You can choose something nicer later when you edit it. I'm gonna reposition. And you see that whenever you choose something on the screen, you have 4 options there, and one of them is rotate, one of them is to scale it up or down. Okay, it's looking pretty good. It's more or less following when I say text templates. I'm gonna make it just a little bit shorter. Great. I'm gonna cut it here because then when I start talking about effects, I wanna add something. Effects, video effects, and let's just choose something interesting here that can last the whole duration of the rest of this tip. Okay, let's make a cut here and let's start the next part of the scene. Okay, this is the part in which I'm gonna add some B-roll. So I'm just gonna cut here where I want to insert it. And I'm gonna put myself on top of the B-roll. So for that, I'm just gonna choose the mask and the round one in this case. Now on this panel, you can just rearrange the mask for it to be as big as you want, and you can also feather it. When you move it, you're moving only the mask, not the video itself. When you click outside of the mask panel, now you're moving the whole video, now with the mask already inserted. So I'm just gonna position myself up there in the corner, and I'm going to insert also an animation, a combo animation, to have the in and out, so that I just don't pop over there like this.
But simple to use. You can cut clips.
Some of them are going to make more sense than others. You can just go clicking, and even before it applies, you can already see how is it going to look like.
But simple to use. You can cut complete but simple to use. You can cut clips, add effects, captions.
Okay, this is looking good.
You can cut clips, add effects, captions. It's perfect for beginners.
So this is the one that I used in this part, which is just me starting to cut this clip where there's an airplane. So all you need to do is to find the similar one and just go for it. Here I'm going to crop a little bit because since I'm on the timeline already, I don't want to mess it up by having a super long clip pushing everything forward. So I'm just going to select this bit, add, and now it's after the part that I masked. So I'm going to click, go to overlay, now it's on the second layer, pull it back a little bit, perfect.
Super complete but simple to use. You can cut clips, add effects.
Now just the order is inverted. So I'm going to click on the B-roll, make it a little bit shorter, match exact the length that I want. And then I'm going to go there, I'm going to click main track so that I send it to the main track. Now on to the mask layer and overlay so that it goes above, push it back, and there we go. Now the background is black because I didn't choose anything, so we're going to fix that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, see if it works like that, but then I'm cutting a little bit of the interface. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm just going to make it smaller so that you can see the whole screen. Go to background, blur, and do the same as we did before.
But simple to use. You can cut clips, add effects, captions.
Perfect. Now all we need is a transition to make this B-roll come in and out.
But simple to use. You can cut clips, add effects,
the entrance is there,
perfect for beginners, but super handy
and now also the outside. Okay, perfect. Now from the second to the third tip, I'm going to use this transition that I just chose. It looks pretty cool. It's going to need some sound effects later, but we're going to add it, don't worry. Okay, now let's go add some B-roll for this part. It's this one where I choose something from the media library, I just show around. I'm going to crop it also, just like I did before. Maybe this initial part because there's some loading over there and I don't want it to appear. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna go with this. It's just 8 seconds. Let's make it a little bit smaller and shorter. Okay, let's edit HD. It's gonna compress the video, and now it's on the main track.
You can find sound effects, music, create voiceovers. Perfect.
And in this case here, what I'm gonna choose is just to have the audio behind or on top of that part of the video. So for that, I'm just going to duplicate this, bring it back, make it exactly the length that I need. And I'm going to remove the background and insert myself there just in the corner, just like a green screen effect, really commenting on something.
You can find
Same thing, blur the background, and there we go. But now I just pop there in the corner, and as you've seen, I don't like it this way very much. So I'm just going to insert an animation, a combo, in and out.
Perfect. You can find sound effects, music, create voiceovers.
In this case, I usually like something that comes from outside the screen. So I'm just gonna go with one of these train combo animations. Okay, this looks pretty good.
You can find sound effects, music, create voiceovers.
And CapCut is gonna keep removing the background because it's updating whenever you move that clip around a little bit.
Create voiceovers. Perfect for creating dynamic, eye-catching edits. 4.
Okay, that worked pretty good. Now let's see the transition between the third tip and the fourth tip.
Perfect for creating dynamic, eye-catching edits. 4. Perfect for creating
Okay, here I'm deciding actually to do the same for the whole length of the talking head video.
find sound effects, music, create voiceovers.
It's just more interesting that way.
Perfect for creating dynamic, eye-catching edits. You can find sound effects,
Dynamic,
music, create
eye-catching
voiceovers.
edits.
Perfect for creating
And I saw that there's some issue with the animation in which it just fades away in the middle. So I just removed it. I'm gonna insert it again and let's see if it's gonna fix it. Trying animation. Sometimes CapCut is just updating the cache behind what you're doing and it might get stuck. So you might just need to remove an effect and put it again or go out and back into the app. Okay, in the next lesson we're gonna see the part 2 of editing this reel. Okay, we're back to part 2 and we're still doing this transition from the third tip to the fourth. I'm gonna cut it right here, cut this piece. And since I'm talking about being lightning fast, I'm gonna go in the obvious and I'm just gonna select a video effect with lightning. Okay, this one looks pretty good. And it's really interesting how CapCut like interacts with the subject on the scene as the lighting changes and also there's some lighting behind and in front of me. Okay, that's looking good. Now let's add again some B-roll here. And in this case, it's going to be this one in which I'm just creating some captions. I'm going to make it shorter, about 4 seconds now. You can always watch it there on the bottom, edit, and it's going to go into the main track here.
You can auto-generate captions, use pre-made templates, easily layer B-roll, add sounds. It's designed.
Okay, this is the case in which I'm just going to overlay the audio from this part. So I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to go to extract audio. And I'm going to bring it back over here. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter because I'm gonna add a little bit more B-roll in this area. Now this part here in which I'm just like selecting which type of captions do I want. Media library. I have also the part in which I'm choosing B-roll that I want to use in this video. Yeah, this one is gonna look pretty nice. I'm I'm gonna crop it a little bit. We're around 3 seconds here, maybe a little bit shorter. Okay, and now I have 2 B-rolls covering the entire length of the audio from this clip. Maybe I can still fit one more. So I might make this one a little bit shorter over here. And you can also always redimension the clips by doing like this, clicking on it and just dragging the white borders around to make it longer or to make it last a little bit less, be a little bit shorter. Okay, now we have 3 B-rolls, 2 of screen recordings of CapCut, and the third one is an actual B-roll imported into the video. But you see that it's horizontal, so I'm just gonna scale it up a little bit, and I'm gonna have this camel here around the middle of the scene. Okay, and that's quite about where the audio finishes from me talking. And in this case, I wanted to try some camera tracking, but I noticed that it didn't really work very well. But I'll let you see what happens here. So after a little while, the camera tracking got lost and just zoomed in crazily onto the camera. So I'm just gonna skip it. It's very slow, so it's really easy to track. I don't need that. In some cases it works, some cases it doesn't. You just have to try it. Okay, let's blur the background so that we have a little bit of something. It's a little bit nicer on the back. It's just not like the plain screenshot, screen recording on the top. We have here me talking about the lightning fast edits. Let's make this a little bit smaller. We have the B-roll of the camel. And now the transition between that and the next point. Okay, let's make it a little bit shorter so that when the audio finishes, also the visual finishes. Yeah. Okay, here we're talking about an all-in-one solution. And as a transition, I'm just gonna add something interesting here. I want it to be a little bit different. So this one looks pretty nice for the ending. Now between one and the other, since it's always the talking head video, I'm just gonna scale it up a little bit to seem like it's another scene, or to seem like it's the continuation of the same scene, although these are in 2 different moments. Now let's search here for the freeze frame, and as I told you in one of the lessons, this just creates a completely frozen frame of 3 seconds of the last scene, last frame that you saw. And we're gonna use this to create a transition into the next clip. Okay, I really like this horizontal slice option. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's gonna need some sound effects, but the visual is very interesting. You can create incredible edits without spending a dime. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, let's cut this clip over here. And I'm saying that you can create incredible edits without spending a dime. So I'm just going to grab one of the B-rolls in which I'm talking about the pro features over here. I like this bit in which I'm just stretching out the color adjustment panel. And there are 3 pro features over here, which kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. So it's going to go into the main track. Let's choose a transition for this B-roll, this screen recording to come onto the scene. Okay, it looks pretty cool like this. Now let's go to the volume. I don't really need the audio that comes from the B-roll. And let's extract the audio. Let's extract the audio from the following piece and bring it back so that it continues just with the audio on top of the B-roll. We'll make it a little bit shorter to last more or less the same thing. And I really want a sticker to point out where the pro features are. They're already quite clear on the scene, but I just want to help the viewer really see what I'm pointing out here. Many of the stickers are just going to be still, but some of them are going to be animated and they're quite nice like this. You just need to understand what's the movement. So for example, here it goes a little bit over where I want. So I'm just going to grab in this moment, drag it on the preview panel, put it where I want. And if I change here the loop or the movement itself, it's going to change completely how it interacts with the video. So in this case, I'm just going to use the same movement that was already set up in the arrow when I inserted it. Okay. Perfect. It works with the arrow. So now let's just go to recovering the audio. Let's make this B-roll last exactly how much we need. Okay, we're talking about activating the monthly subscription. It should end right about here. And then we're gonna go on to the last piece, which is the outro, which is gonna connect to the intro because it's looped. For this one, I'm gonna choose something crazy like this paper transition here. And yeah, it's gonna finish with me with the hand up like this and starts exactly like that. Okay, perfect. The visuals are looking very, very interesting. Now I think we have to go on to the sound part of this. But before, let's just add a filter to it. These videos have been already color corrected, but we can add some special flair to it by adding one of the filters, and I really like this Hasselblad too. Just be sure that if you want to affect the whole video, and this is what we want here because it's all talking head video, you just drag it all the way until the end so that for the sound, I'm just gonna go for any song that I can find here that has a little bit of a beat, and you can just click and listen to all the songs that you'd like. I'm just gonna keep with the first one, and I really want the start of the audio to be a hit, like here. So I'm just gonna cut this audio exactly here and bring it back. You have to remember that if this video is a loop, you need the music to loop also, otherwise it's too easy to spot. I'm gonna put the volume around 10, otherwise it's too conflicting with the voice. 8 sounds good. And I really want the beginning to be a hit, so I'm just gonna add a keyframe right in the beginning, a little bit later on. And when you see it red on the timeline, it means that it's activated and you're changing the property in that point. So here I'm gonna make the volume 30, and you can see that it goes down until the second keyframe. And by the end, I want it to fade out. So here I'm gonna split it. The music is super long. Drag and drop it until the end. It's gonna snap to the end. You're gonna feel it. And here I'm gonna click fade and use the fade out about 2 seconds. And you're gonna be able to see there the fade symbol. Perfect. So it fades out in the end, and then it starts with a hit. Okay, next step, sound effects. So I already saved a bunch of sound effects that I use quite often here. So one of them is gonna be the one special for this video effect, which is the vortex. Now the key is that you have to move the sound effect around to be able to be sure that the right moment in the sound effect also matches what's happening on the screen. And you don't want the volume of the sound effect to be too overwhelming, otherwise it's just distracting and not interesting. Now for almost every transition, I'm gonna add some sort of sound effect, and most of them are gonna be whooshes. There are many different types. If you just type whoosh, just like it's written there, or with also WHOOSH, it's also gonna work. And you're gonna have all these whipping whooshes and things that just match very well with the transitions. In this case here, I have this science AI video. So I just searched something like artificial intelligence or something and found this one, or science. Sometimes the sound effect doesn't have to be exactly what you're seeing on the screen, and you can get really creative with this. And you're gonna find some things that are totally nonsense, but they just match as audio, as a sound effect. Now here I have the text template, so I'm just gonna find some typing on a keyboard. This looks good. Sounds very nice. Reposition it, make it a little bit lower the volume, and we're good. Now this transition, I'm just gonna use something different. I'm gonna go with this science fiction because a whoosh just didn't match at all. I'm gonna make it shorter, lower the volume, and we're good. Now for this one, I really need a money bell. That's it, a cash register. Done. Position it right, and you can't really overlap it if it's in the same layer, so either you create a new one or you just make it as connected as possible to the previous sound effect. Now in this case here, simple whoosh. Again here. And now here we do have something like a paper transition or something, so turning a page could work. Okay. Next one's gonna be a whoosh. Reposition it so the hit matches the visual. And there's going to be another one over here. That's the importance of saving them on your favorites, otherwise you have to search for them every single time. It's just a waste of time. Well, we need a lightning sound effect. There's gonna be a bunch of them, but this one sounds good. All right. I want it to start a little bit before and a little bit after. And the sound can't be really overwhelming. I'm just gonna fade it in and out. We have all the B-roll. Now we have a transition over here. Classical whoosh. Now that crazy transition. And for that one, I'm gonna use this light recovery. It's like a sci-fi styled sound effect. Lower the volume to 30. And this is a very strange transition to add a sound effect, but it looked something kind of like a mahjong game or something like that. So I just searched for tiles. I found a bunch of sound effects that have absolutely nothing to do with this. No, not at all. Too simple. But this one sounds good. Okay. Now remember that whenever you click on sound collection, you can see all of the audios that you have. And in this case here, since I have the freeze frame, I'm gonna get the music, I'm gonna create 4 keyframes, and the ones in the middle, I'm gonna raise the volume up to 37 or 40. And this means that there's going to be a step up in the music in that moment, where the visuals are still, so the music is gonna compensate it, and then it goes back down. Now here we have the arrow, so I wanna put a bell, a ding or something like that, which I have already saved. Positioning. Okay, now it's matching. And finally, the last transition, which is this paper, crumbled paper sound effect. I'm gonna position it right, cut it here, fade in and out, no, just out in this case. And that's it. So regarding sound effects, I think we're good. Okay, every single time you do one pass of visuals, sound effects, captions or whatever, it's good to watch it all over to see if it's all correct. So now let's do the captions. I'm just gonna choose video, and here I'm gonna choose already the template that I wanna use, which are these white letters with black background. You don't need to choose it now, but it just makes it easier. Captions are gonna be generated, it's super fast. And now they're all on this bottom layer here, marked as brown. And if you change one of them, you're going to be changing all of them. Now, first, I'm going to choose the font. I want to change it. So I'm going to choose for this Genial font. Okay, it's up here, selected. Now all of the fonts, all of the subtitles, the captions are all the same. Repositioning also affects all of the subtitles. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, now it looks good. And now it starts the process of just editing all the captions and seeing that everything is written correctly. You can do it on the screen, just like I told you in the text and captions lesson, but I prefer to go through the edit captions panel because like this I can really see the whole text and I can already see also the next lines. Also, clicking on this panel is easier than on the screen itself, because you also have the buttons to redimension, to close, to rotate. So here it just makes it easier. Some things are going to be understood wrong by CapCut, like auto and auto, bureau. So I'm just going to go through here really quickly, fixing all of the small mistakes that I made, but it's like 2% of it. And I'll see you when I finish. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Let's take a look.
5 reasons why CapCut Mobile is the ultimate solution to edit on the go. And trust me, the fifth one is going to blow your mind. First, CapCut Mobile gives you incredible features like AI tools, face tracking, text templates, and effects.
Now in this part here, I already set text templates. And I already had the text template itself on the screen. So we don't need the subtitles on top of that. So I'm going to delete, reposition it a little bit. And here is missing one word, so I'm just going to add it. Effects, you'd expect from expensive. Okay, perfect. Alright, this is the end of our lesson with the complete workflow. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about exporting your video.
You've done all the hard work of editing your video, now it's time to export it. In this lesson, we'll walk through the exporting options in CapCut Mobile, ensuring your video looks its best no matter where you're sharing it. We'll cover settings for resolution, quality, frame rate, and more. For this exporting lesson, let's just choose one of the videos that we were editing before, like this one, for example. And what I need you to pay attention here is this menu on the upper right part, right beside export. Here is where you're going to choose. First, the resolution of the file you're going to export. Now, bear in mind that for social media, the bare minimum is going to be 1080p. Now, here really depends on where you're going to show this video. If your idea is to put it on a TV, definitely 4K. Just to see it on a smartphone, 2K. If you're going to publish it on social media, 1080p might just be the best option here. The thing is, you could try to publish something in a higher resolution, but normally the social media apps are going to compress it down. So the least they have to compress something, the better it's going to look. The frame rate is going to depend on the clips that you were using before. In this case, the clip that I was using was 25 frames per second, so I'm just going to export like that. The code rate for this video is just going to follow more or less the quality of the original files. Now this is one that usually I see it as a little bit better if you put it at high. And the file size doesn't change that much. As you can see, it goes from 11 to 13 in this case. Here in the watermark option, you're going to be able to choose where the CapCut logo is going to go, or if you have the Pro version, you can actually hide it completely. Just one remark, in case you're using 30 frames per second or more, you can actually enable the optical flow, which is going to try to make your video look smoother. So in case you have the Pro and you have the original files at 25 frames per second, but you want to export as 30, you could use this option to compensate. Now you could leave it as it is and just continue editing, but if this is your final step, you can just click export. And now you're good to share it. Now if you're in doubt about which kind of clips you've got and which are going to be the best export settings for you, I highly recommend you to export in some different settings and compare them really by watching one after the other and trying to guess which one was it. This kind of blind test is going to give you a better feeling of which are the real best settings for you. Alright, in the next lesson, we're going to wrap it all up. First of all, congratulations! You've made it to the end of the class, and that's a big deal. Taking the time to learn and improve your video editing skills shows your commitment to growing as a content creator, and I'm so proud of the effort you've put in. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered on this class. We started with the initial setup and explored how to select clips and organize your project. You learned to navigate the timeline and layers while mastering tools like trimming, splitting, adding effects. We dove into advanced features like speed adjustments, rotoscoping, and AI effects to take your edits to the next level. Now, you also got hands-on with audio editing, text, captions, and so much more. Now, you have all the tools you need to create professional quality videos, all from your mobile device. If you're hungry for more, you can check out my other classes on Skillshare. If you feel like having a little bit more space to edit would be good, you can try the CapCut for Desktop class. It's perfect for those who want to edit on a larger screen with additional features. Or maybe trying DaVinci Resolve for creators looking to dive into advanced video editing and color grading. If you want to keep mobile, you can check out Lightroom Mobile and learn how to edit stunning photos directly from your phone. Each of these classes builds on the skills you've developed here, giving you even more ways to create amazing content. If you want, you can follow me for more tips on my social media platforms. I share quick editing tips, creative inspiration, and updates whenever new features or tools are released. And you'll also be the first to know when I launch new classes. Thank you so much for sticking around and completing this class. Your time and dedication means a lot, and I hope you're feeling confident and excited to create your next project. Now remember, the best way to improve is by practicing, so go ahead, apply what you've learned, and share your work with the world. And if you have any questions, if you need any kind of feedback, you can use the discussions panel and post your work in the dedicated area. Thanks again, and happy editing. Ciao!